I couldn't breathe. My chest burned. My vision blurred. The cold tiles beneath my back were slick with something warm, maybe blood, maybe betrayal. I blinked up at them. Sienna's heels clacked against the floor, and Ethan crouched beside me, his phone still in his hand. She's losing consciousness, he muttered. Then let her, Sienna snapped. If she talks, everything we've worked for will fall apart. I choked. Sienna, please. She looked at me like I was a broken machine. You should have stayed out of the boardroom. You were just the coder, Arya, not the visionary. Ethan didn't meet my eyes. He just whispered, don't make this harder than it has to be. I tried to lift my arm. It wouldn't move. My fingers twitched. That was all. The lights overhead flickered like they were about to go out, like me. I heard a door open, then silence, then nothing. Same ceiling, same apartment, same ugly yellow stain in the corner of the room I always meant to clean. I shot up. My heart slammed against my ribs. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. Tuesday, April 11, 1 year ago. I covered my mouth with both hands. No way, I whispered. This is before it all. Before Sienna stole my company. Before Ethan left me broken on the floor. Before I died. My fingers trembled as I touched my phone. A notification blinked. Meeting with Ethan, 11 a.m. The one where he first suggested I pitch my prototype. The one where I handed him the entire future on a silver plate. I stumbled to the bathroom. Cold water. A splash. My reflection blinked back at me. Alive, confused and furious. Okay, I whispered. If this is real, then I get to choose what happens next. And this time, I wouldn't save them. Knock knock. Sienna's voice sang through the door. Arya, you awake? You forgot your investor deck on the counter. Again, investor deck. Right. For Novamind, the app I built from scratch. I opened the door. Her perfectly curled hair, flawless makeup, designer bag. I remembered when I thought she was beautiful. Now all I saw was a vulture in silk. Oh, there you are, she smiled. You looked like a zombie at breakfast. Didn't sleep much, I said, forcing a smile. Nerves, I guess. Well, don't mess it up today, she said, holding out the file. This pitch could change everything. For both of us. For her it did. She sold it 6 months later for $30 million, and told everyone she built it. I took the file. Thanks, sis, she winked. You're lucky you have me. I almost laughed. Yeah, I am. The ride to the meeting was silent. Ethan sat beside me in the cab, tapping something on his phone. He finally looked up. You okay? Fine. You seem quiet. Just thinking, I said. About how you let me die. He smiled, like he still had me wrapped around his finger. This is big, Arya. Once we get this funding, you won't have to worry about anything. I'll handle the business. You just keep coding. I nodded. Sure. He placed his hand over mine. You trust me, right? I looked at his fingers. Those same fingers that left me bleeding on that cold floor. More than anyone. I lied. We arrived at the building. I stared up at the glass tower that once looked like opportunity. Now, it looked like a battleground. Ready? Ethan asked. I nodded. But inside, a voice screamed. This time, you don't give it away. As we entered the lobby, I made a promise to myself. Let them think I'm still the same girl. Let them play their game. Let them believe they've won. And when the time comes, I'll let them fall, just like they let me. I couldn't stop looking at the calendar. April 11. 1 year before I died. I sat on the edge of the bed, my fingers gripping the edge of the blanket like it might float away. I kept blinking, hoping this was some twisted coma dream, but the sunlight was warm on my face. My phone still had the crack in the top left corner I hadn't gotten fixed yet. My email inbox still had 20 unread messages from investors I thought were maybe next time guys. I was really back, 1 year before everything collapsed. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I smiled, because this time I already knew the ending, and I had no intention of letting them write it for me again. Arya, you coming? Sienna shouted from the kitchen. You'll be late for your own company meeting. I called back. Give me a sec. I opened my laptop. Novamind's prototype stared back at me. Raw, clunky, but mine. I hovered over the files. Last time, I'd proudly emailed this version to Ethan after he promised to polish it up for the investor deck. Then he replaced my name. Then he gave the boardroom speech himself. I closed the laptop. Let them have this version. I already had something better planned. Downstairs, Sienna sipped her oat milk latte like a queen. Her heels clicked against the tiles as she leaned toward me. You look tired, she said sweetly. Did you even shower? I did, I said. Did you eat something besides my cereal? She rolled her eyes. I was saving you from carbs. Thanks, I muttered. Anyway, Ethan said we should meet an hour early to prep. Right, so we're all meeting him at his office? Yup. Don't screw up, okay? This is your big break. I smiled. Funny, I said, picking up my bag. Feels like my second. Mira met me on the corner near 6th. She stood by the flower stand with her oversized glasses and a scarf that always seemed too big for her small frame. You're early, she said quietly. Couldn't sleep, I replied. She glanced at the USB drive in my hand. You're really giving them the original version again? I nodded. Exactly like before. Only difference is, I won't be the fool who sits back this time. She hesitated. Won't they catch on? Not yet, I said. They'll be too busy thinking they're winning. She gave me a small smile. You scare me a little. Good, I said, because I'm done being scared of them. We rode the elevator in silence. As the floors ticked up, I could feel it, the déjà vu. Same lobby scent, same elevator music, same nervous pit in my stomach, but this time the fear wasn't mine. It belonged to the past, and I had no intention of dragging it into my future. Ethan stood waiting outside the glass-walled conference room, polished, calm, snake in a suit. There's my girl, he said, arms wide. I let him hug me. For a second, he smelled the same, like ambition and cologne. Everything good? He asked. Perfect, I said. His eyes narrowed slightly. You feel different today. Do I? He shrugged. Maybe it's just me. It wasn't. I was different. I was reborn, and now I remembered everything they didn't. I just feel like you don't want to win, Sienna said, flipping through the pitch slides like she owned them. I sat across from her at the cafe table, quietly stirring my untouched coffee. Same speech, same fake concern, the same tone she used before she stabbed me in the back. You worked hard on this, Arya, but you're not strategic, she continued. You need someone like me to take the lead. I tilted my head. You're right. She blinked. Wait, what? You're better at this stuff. You should take the credit. Her lips parted slightly, confused, suspicious, but not enough to stop her from smiling. Well, I mean, I don't need credit. I just want to make sure we succeed. I almost laughed. Of course. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Trust me, this is for the best. I nodded. It is, because now I knew exactly what best meant to her. And this time, I was going to give it to her on a silver platter that collapsed when she touched it. Back at my apartment, I opened my real laptop, the one Sierra didn't know existed. A clean, private build, an updated version of Novamind. Faster, smarter, with security she wouldn't even understand how to crack. I copied the code into a new folder. Then I looked at Mira. You still want in? She nodded. What do I call the new company? I smiled. Call it Astra. Astra, she repeated softly. It means from the stars, and we're launching from rock bottom. By nightfall we had an LLC registered in Mira's name. I told her exactly how to route the IP ownership, how to transfer the code from my secret GitHub repo, how to hide every fingerprint that led to me. If this works, she said, they won't even realize they're being outrun. Exactly, she hesitated. Are you really okay letting Sierra have it? I nodded. Let her think she won, let her take the applause, let her take the investors, the credit, the fake praise, all of it. And then, I looked out the window, watching the city lights flicker like dying stars, and then I'll take everything else. The next day, Ethan called me. You're a genius, he said. They loved it. The prototype blew them away. Glad to hear it. You really don't care about being on stage? No, I lied. I just want the company to grow. He paused. You've really changed, Arya. People do that when they almost die, I said under my breath. What? Nothing. Just happy it's working. He laughed. You're incredible. Don't worry, we'll make sure you're taken care of. I stared at the wall. I'm counting on it. That night, I watched the press release go live. Novamind, the future of cognitive AI. CEO Sienna W.Y. They even spelled my name wrong in the credits. Perfect. Because when the collapse came, it would be Sienna's name that sank with the ship, and no one would know I was ever on board. You've always been the heart of this project, you know that? Ethan's voice was soft, careful, like he thought I might break if he spoke too loud. I looked at him over the edge of my wine glass. Is that so? He leaned closer across the table, smiling like we were still in love. You don't give yourself enough credit, Arya. The code, the vision, the passion, that's all you. I remembered those same lips whispering to Sienna behind my back. You really think I don't give myself credit? I asked. I know you, he said, touching my hand. You hide behind the work, but you're brilliant. I didn't flinch. Instead, I tilted my head and asked, then why is Sienna the CEO? He blinked. That was your decision. You said she was better with the public. I did, didn't I? I said, voice flat. Funny how my decisions always seem to benefit her. He laughed nervously. Come on, you know it's just temporary. Once the funding rounds are over we can restructure everything. You and me, equal partners. I let that hang in the air. Equal partners. In betrayal? After dinner we walked through the city like nothing had ever happened between us. Except everything had. I asked, do you remember the first time I showed you Novamind? Of course, he said. I was blown away. You'd written half the back end in what, 3 weeks? 4, I said, and I knew right then. He smiled. You were going to change the world. I stopped walking. Did you mean it back then? Or was I just a smart bet? He didn't answer right away. That was my answer. At home, I plugged in the flash drive he'd handed me over dinner. Investor projections, he said, just for you. But what he didn't know was that I'd already seen the real ones on Mira's laptop, downloaded from a shared drive Ethan thought was private. Projected earnings, $12 in year 1, 28 by year 2, and not a single mention of me. Just Sienna, co-founder and CEO, and Ethan Miles, strategic advisor. No Arya, no lead developer, no founder. I was a ghost in my own creation. Pull Astra's roadmap up a week. Won't that look rushed? Only if we do it wrong. We won't. She hesitated. You want to shadow them. I want to haunt them. The next day, Ethan dropped by my place with coffee. Vanilla oat latte, extra shot. He said with a grin. Just how you like it. I took it but didn't smile. I was thinking, he said, we should do a joint press interview next month. You know, show people the brains behind Novamind. Brains that aren't credited anywhere, I asked calmly. He blinked. Well, right now it's just optics. Investors like Sienna's confidence. And I'm what? The backstage code monkey? He frowned. That's not fair. Neither is watching my idea get sold under someone else's name. He took a breath. Arya, you're not seeing the bigger picture. Oh, I see it just fine, I said, cutting him off. And I've already started drawing my own. He looked confused. What does that mean? I smiled. It means I'm done playing in someone else's shadows. That night, I sent Astra's beta links to 3 angel investors. No name, no pitch deck, just the product. 2 replied within the hour. The 3rd asked if we'd be interested in a discreet early acquisition. I texted Mira, the wolves are coming, feed them. We're live, no bugs, server loads stable. I leaned over her shoulder, watching Astra come to life. The app looked nothing like Novamind. Cleaner UI, smarter UX, a voice interface that didn't crash every 10 prompts. You know what I love most? I whispered. Mira didn't look away from the screen. What? We didn't spend a single dollar on marketing. Word of mouth's doing all the work, she said. This thing's flying. I nodded. Because it solves a real problem. Unlike Novamind, which looked pretty but was hollow inside, like Sienna. By day I still sat in meetings with Sienna and Ethan, acting like the loyal little sister. By night I sharpened every blade they handed me. You seemed distracted, Sienna said over brunch. Burnout already? I shrugged. Maybe I'm just tired of being behind the curtain. Well, some people prefer the shadows, she replied. It's where they're comfortable. And some people are just afraid of the light, I said quietly. She didn't catch it. She never did. Ethan did though. His eyes flicked to me for a moment. Calculating. Wallfire. 2 days later, a LinkedIn post went viral. Just discovered an anonymous AI tool that blew me away. It's like Novamind but smarter, and it doesn't steal your data. I didn't write it, didn't have to. The world was starting to notice. Why is engagement down? Sienna snapped during the Monday meeting. Ethan stared at the dashboard. I don't know, downloads dropped 18% since Thursday. Are we being attacked? Not exactly, he muttered. She turned to me. Arya, any insight? I kept my voice calm. Maybe there's a better product out there. She rolled her eyes. Don't be ridiculous. We're the only ones in this category. I met Ethan's gaze across the table. He was sweating. Good. Later that night, Mira texted me. We passed 50K users. I replied, push the update, full version. 10 minutes later, Astra's V1.0 went live. The next morning, TechForge published a blind review. This week's breakout app isn't from Silicon Valley's loudest names, but from an unknown, ruthless genius. They called it the Silent Revolution. I called it revenge. Ethan called me twice that day. I ignored both. Then Sienna left a voicemail. You're not going to believe this. Some random copycat is gaining traction. Can you look into it? Ethan says it might be someone on our dev team leaking our build. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. She was right. Someone was leaking. But it wasn't their build. It was mine. That night I met Mira at our co-working loft. Leo was waiting by the glass wall, sipping black coffee like a bored god. He turned as I approached. You wanted a partner. Not exactly, I said. I want someone who knows how to stay out of my way and take care of things I don't have time for. He smirked. You think I work for you? No, I said. I think we work for the same future, and I'm just faster at getting there. He raised an eyebrow. You really think Astra can kill Novamind? It doesn't have to kill it, I replied. It just has to make people stop caring it exists. By midnight, we had a PR strategy in place. No founder name, no interviews, no personal branding, just code, product, performance. Let them chase ghosts while we built the empire. Mira leaned back in her chair. Sienna's going to explode when she finds out. I shook my head. No, not yet. Right now she still thinks she's winning, and that's the best time to let her speak loudly, because when she falls, the silence will be deafening. Sienna barged into the apartment like a thunderstorm in heels. Do you know who Richard Kale is? She hissed, slamming her bag on the counter. I took a bite of my toast. The angel investor. She glared at me. The angel investor. The same guy Ethan's been trying to impress for 6 months. Okay, I pitched Novamind to him this morning. She ripped off her blazer. He rejected me in 5 minutes. 5. I feigned surprise. Did he say why? She mimicked his voice. He said, we've already invested in a competitor with a more promising roadmap. Can you believe that? A competitor. That's rough. I said, sipping my tea. She paced the kitchen. What competitor? No one's close to us in features, unless... Her eyes narrowed. You don't think it's that weird Astra app people keep whispering about, do you? I shrugged. Maybe. She pointed a finger at me. You better not be talking to anyone behind my back. I set my cup down slowly. Why would I ever do that? Her jaw tightened, but she backed off. Because I was still the weak one. That afternoon, I received a text from Richard Kale. Cleanest pitch I've seen in a decade. They won't know what hit them. Let's finalize by Friday. He didn't know I was Arya. Legally, Astra belonged to Mira, but he'd seen the code. He'd seen the vision. He'd invested. And Sienna had no idea he was now backing the very app she called a garage project. The next day, Ethan invited me to lunch. Let's talk funding, he said as we sat down. Novamind needs fresh capital to keep scaling. I looked at him over the rim of my glass. Isn't Sienna already chasing investors? Yeah, but you're the core dev. You should be part of those meetings. I can't keep pretending like your work isn't the backbone of this thing. I tilted my head. You've done it well so far. He froze, then forced a chuckle. You're not still mad about the press release, are you? I told Sienna to add you. I know what you told her, and I know what she did. He leaned closer. Look, I'm trying to fix things. No, Ethan, I said calmly. You're trying to survive the fire you helped start. That evening, Mira and I finalized the contract. Astra would receive $2.5 million in seed funding from Richard's firm. More than Sienna had ever raised. Mira looked at me as she clicked send. You know she's going to spiral, right? I nodded. That's the point. By Thursday, the investor rumor mill had caught fire. Kaleback's stealth startup. Source claims it's everything Novamind wishes it was. Sienna slammed open the door during our meeting. Everyone's pulling out, she snapped. 3 investors ghosted me overnight. Ethan, say something. Ethan looked pale. It's probably just temporary. A bluff. She turned to me. What do you think? I smiled gently. Maybe they're just seeing something better. Her eyes flared. Are you behind this? I write code, I said, not conspiracy theories. She stormed out. Ethan lingered. His voice was low. You're playing a dangerous game. I met his eyes. Then you should have thought twice before building your throne out of me. Sienna screamed at the TV. I built this. I built this. She paced in front of the screen while a business anchor calmly dissected Novamind's sudden drop in user retention. In just 3 weeks, a stealth AI app called Astra has taken nearly 40% of Novamind's market share, without press, without branding, without a known founder. I leaned on the doorway. You okay? She spun around. No, I'm not okay. This thing came out of nowhere. It's like they stole everything we built. I raised an eyebrow. So you're saying someone else launched a better version of your app and you're upset they outperformed you? She narrowed her eyes. What are you trying to say? Nothing, I said sweetly. Just sounds familiar. 10 minutes later, she slammed the bedroom door. Again. I pulled out my phone and texted Mira. She's breaking. Time to close in. Mira replied instantly. Final board meetings tomorrow. She has no idea we're on the agenda. That night, Ethan showed up at my apartment uninvited. Arya, we need to talk. I stepped aside and let him in. What's wrong? Sienna yelled at you too. He didn't sit. Just stood in the middle of the room, arms folded. She's spiraling. Can't imagine why. He looked at me carefully. You know something, don't you? About Astra. I stayed quiet. He took a step forward. Arya, if you're involved in this... I cut him off. What are you going to do? Stab me in the back again? He flinched. It wasn't like that. No? I walked past him toward the kitchen. Then what was it, Ethan? Because I remember lying on the floor bleeding and hearing you tell her to let me go. That wasn't. He stopped. That's not what happened. I opened the fridge. I was there, I remember. This time I won't be the one left gasping while you two celebrate. He ran a hand through his hair. You're not thinking straight. I looked him dead in the eye. I've never thought clearer. The next morning, Sienna stood in front of the boardroom mirror, adjusting her makeup like it could hold her world together. This is just noise, she muttered. Once I pitch the new roadmap, they'll see I'm in control. I sat behind her, watching. You know they're bringing in a surprise guest today, I said, tying my hair into a low ponytail. She scoffed. Probably one of those ancient consultants from Richard's firm. Probably, I said. She glanced at me. Are you coming to the table or staying in the corner? I'll be wherever the board wants me. 10 minutes into the meeting, the CFO cleared his throat. We've had concerns about the direction of Novamind. Sienna's smile cracked slightly. I understand, and I have answers. There's also someone here we'd like you to meet. The doors opened. Mira stepped in a blazer, with Leo beside her. Sienna blinked. What is she doing here? Mira looked directly at her. I'm here to make you an offer. A thick folder dropped onto the table. Acquisition proposal, Leo added. For Novamind. Sienna's voice shook. You're buying us out? Mira nodded. We're offering $6 billion, clean, immediate. Sienna laughed. You don't have $6 billion. Mira turned toward me. I stood. I do now. The room fell silent. Sienna's lipstick quivered. You, what? I'm Astra's founder, Sienna, I said softly. I always was. You lied to me. I tilted my head. You stole from me first. The board members whispered among themselves. One asked for the terms. Another requested Mira's investor list. Sienna looked ready to scream. You've planned this the whole time. Not the whole time, I said. Just since the moment I died. She lunged across the table, knocking over a pitcher of water. You ungrateful little. Security stepped in. Leo calmly pulled a napkin from his pocket and wiped his sleeve. Well, that went better than I expected. Mira handed me a pen. Ready to sign, CEO? I took it, and signed over the same company they once ripped from my hands. Only now it was mine. By sunrise the world knew my name. Meet Arya W., the silent genius behind Astra. Anonymous no more, the woman who built the app that dethroned Novamind. I scrolled through the headlines in silence. No need to post anything myself. The internet was doing all the talking. My face was on every tech blog, every headline, every TikTok reel about quiet revenge and the comeback of the century. And Sienna, she was trending for all the wrong reasons. Abaido alardi atspatsi and izarfabat quiet revenge, and the comeback of the century. And Sienna, you really did it. I said nothing. You couldn't have warned me. I leaned back on the couch. Did you warn me the night I almost died? He was quiet. Then I didn't know she'd go that far. Yes, you did, I said coldly. You just didn't care. I cared, he whispered. About you. No, I said. You cared about control. Later that afternoon, Sienna posted a carefully filtered selfie with a caption. Sometimes losing everything is what makes us stronger. Thank you to those who still believe in me. The journey's not over. Mira sent it to me with the eye roll emoji. She still thinks this is a comeback story, she said. She's half right, I replied. It's just not her comeback. An hour later, I opened the folder I'd never touched again until today. Screenshots. Messages from Sienna bragging to Ethan about how easily I handed her the app. Voicemails where they discussed diluting my shares so she doesn't get too loud. I'd saved everything. I uploaded it all to an anonymous site, then posted the link on a public forum with just one sentence. You asked why I stayed silent. Here's why. Within minutes, it went viral. I watched the comments roll in. She was betrayed by her own sister. Ethan should be arrested. This is what happens when you underestimate a quiet woman. No hashtags. No mic drops. Just truth. By evening, Sienna's followers started turning. Screenshots flooded Instagram. Reddit threads exploded. Mira texted me again. She's deleted all her socials. I replied, let her rest. She's finally offline. We want to do a feature, your full story. Background, betrayal, rebirth. You'll be on the cover. I hesitated. Do I have to name names? No, she said gently. Just your truth. I agreed. Not because I wanted revenge anymore, but because I wanted to speak for the girl who died thinking she didn't matter. Later that week, I walked into a cafe and noticed something strange. The girl behind the counter stared at me. You're her, right? She asked. The Astra girl. I froze. She smiled. I read your story. You made me want to start coding again. I nodded, suddenly unsure what to say. Thanks, I finally whispered. That means everything. Back at the loft, Mira handed me a thick envelope. What's this? I asked. Final board documents, she said. It's all yours now. I flipped through the pages, then paused at the last line. CEO, Aria Winters. I stared at my name. For the first time, it didn't look small. It looked like justice. She stood outside my door for almost 20 minutes before knocking. I knew she would come. Eventually they always do, when there's nothing left to take. I opened the door slowly. Sienna stood there in an oversized hoodie, no makeup, no smug smile, just swollen eyes and shaking hands. Aria, she whispered, can I talk to you? I didn't move. Talk or lie, she winced. Please, just 5 minutes. I stepped aside. She walked in like a ghost who'd forgotten how to exist. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she said, sitting on the edge of the couch like she wasn't sure she belonged there. You did, I said. You just didn't think you'd lose. Tears welled up in her eyes. I was scared. Of what? That I'd outshine you? She shook her head. Of always being second. You were the genius. You made everything look easy. I just wanted something of my own. So you stole mine? She looked up at me. I was drowning. I thought if I built something big enough, maybe Mom and Dad would finally see me. I laughed bitterly. You think I did this for them? I coded through nights they never saw. I was invisible too, Sierra. I just didn't ruin someone else to fix it. She wiped her eyes. I didn't want you to die, but you let me, I said. You stood over me and chose not to help. Her shoulders shook. I didn't know what to do, Ethan said. Stop, I cut in. Don't blame him. You knew exactly what you were doing. You watched me fade out and thought, finally. I didn't, she whispered. I stayed silent. Let the guilt settle. She looked around the apartment. It's the same, she said. Same furniture, same smell, everything's the same but you. I'm not the same, I said. Not anymore. She stood slowly. What now? That depends, I replied. Do you want my forgiveness, or do you want me to make this all disappear for you? She looked like she didn't know. So I told her. I don't hate you, Sierra. I'm just done letting you write my story. Her lip trembled. I miss my sister. I looked her straight in the eye. You buried her. She reached for my hand. I let her fingers touch mine for a second. Then I pulled away. She didn't fight it. Didn't beg. She just nodded. I'm sorry. And for the first time, I believed she meant it. But that didn't change the past. Some doors stay closed, not out of hate but survival. As I walked her to the door, she turned one last time. Are we ever going to be okay? I smiled gently. We are now, because you don't own any piece of me anymore. The lights were blinding, not in a bad way, more like warm, steady, honest. I stood backstage at the Global Founders Summit gripping the edges of my note cards, not because I needed them, but because the weight of everything behind me felt real in my hands. Ready, Miss Winters? The coordinator asked. I smiled. I've been ready for a long time. The stage was quiet as I walked out. No music, no intro video, just me. A woman they once called invisible. I looked at the sea of faces, thousands in the room, millions watching online. Hi, I said simply. I'm Aria. The crowd erupted in applause, but I didn't soak it in. I stood still. I'm not here to talk about Astra's valuation, I said once the clapping stopped. I'm here to talk about something worth more. I paused. I died once, not physically, but emotionally. I gave my heart, my code, my vision, to people I thought I could trust. The room went still, and they used it, lied, smiled, applauded me in public and erased me in private. I took a breath, but I came back. I didn't scream, I didn't fight for credit. I built something better, in silence, in shadows, until the world couldn't ignore it. I saw Mira in the front row, nodding. I smiled. I'm not here to drag anyone, I don't need revenge anymore. Because the truth is, I looked around. I don't want to win a war. I want to build a world where we don't have to fight just to be seen. Another pause. I created Astra, not to compete, but to prove that quiet doesn't mean weak. That calm doesn't mean passive. That the girl behind the curtain might be the one holding the blueprint. The audience leaned in. You don't have to shout to matter, you just have to finish what you started, even if no one's clapping yet. When I walked off stage, people were already standing, cheering, but I didn't feel like I had won. I just felt free. Later that night, I sat alone on my balcony, barefoot, wrapped in a hoodie 3 sizes too big. The city buzzed beneath me, but my heart was finally quiet. Mira came outside holding 2 mugs. Chamomile, she said, handing me one. You looked like you needed it. I smiled. You always know. We sat in silence for a bit. Then she asked, do you miss her, Sienna? Mira nodded. I looked at the sky. I missed the version I thought she was. And Ethan. I sipped my tea. I don't think I ever really knew him. Mira leaned back. You're different now. I'm not, I said. I'm just whole. An hour later, I posted one last message to my feed. To the girl who gave everything and lost herself in the process, I see you now. No one owns you anymore. No hashtags, no links, just closure.